So, it begins with a man named Kim. Every day, as he gets off the bus, he notices a girl sitting at the bus stop with her luggage. For the first few days, he ignores her. But one day, frustrated, the poor fellow asks her, "What are you doing there?" The girl replies, "I'm waiting for a bus." Kim replies, "The bus I got off was the last one. A bus will arrive in the morning." The girl, named Lee, asks Kim, "Do you know me?" Kim didn't know her. He shakes his head and awkwardly walks away. But the next day, the same thing happens. Kim gets off the bus and finds the girl sitting at the bus stop again. The only change is that it is raining today. Kim feels sorry for her and tells her, "It's not right for you to stay here. My house is nearby. You can spend the night there if you want." The girl agrees, and Kim takes her home. The scene cuts to a nurse on night duty in the ICU. At this moment, a strange man tries to enter the ICU. When the nurse refuses to let him in, he reveals that he actually wants to go to the morgue, the place where hospitals freeze dead bodies. Before the nurse can respond, a patient's health deteriorates, and when she returns after handling the situation, she finds the man has left. Next, we see a light shop owned by Jung. A confused man comes to Jung to borrow a light. Jung gives him the light, but strangely, he writes down all the man's information in his register without telling him anything. Just then, the same man from the hospital arrives at the shop. Jung asks, "How can I help you?" But the man leaves, confused, without saying anything. The scene cuts to a school. A girl is watching a class from the ground. It turns out that a girl named 𝐻𝐤 is sitting there. 𝐻𝐤 also notices her and greets her from above. A strange thing we notice here is that everyone is ignoring 𝐻𝐤 and the other girl, as if they cannot see them. We see the light shop again, where a man approaches Jung. As soon as this man arrives, Jung's glasses start turning to ice. The man asks Jung, "Have you seen a dog?" "Actually, a dog bothers me a lot and barks in front of my house." Jung denies it, saying that he hasn't seen a dog yet, and he takes off his glasses. As soon as he does, the man leaves. Then we are shown 𝐻𝐤's school. All of 𝐻𝐤's friends are talking about how many girls in school have seen spirits. 𝐻𝐤 also tries to talk to the girls, but they are strangely ignoring her. They do not respond to anything she says, not even looking at her when she calls out. Just then, a new woman enters the light shop, whose name is Haiwan. She silently observes the shop, and then, as she is about to touch a light, Jung awkwardly warns her, saying, "You shouldn't do that." Jung's tone is as if she is about to kill someone if she touches that light. 𝐻𝐤 leaves, and we see 𝐻𝐤 on the same road. It is raining on the way home from school. She starts to feel scared, so she goes inside the light shop. We learn that Jung knows 𝐻𝐤 well and is happy to see her. Jung gives 𝐻𝐤 some candy, and they start talking. 𝐻𝐤 explains that she is very scared because she heard there are many ghosts nearby. Jung replies, "That's nothing to be so scared about." Jung then asks her a strange question. "Do you live with your mother?" When 𝐻𝐤 answers, Jung tells her, yes. He says, "She has a surprising gift from God. You can see spirits, souls, and ghosts." Excited, 𝐻𝐤 asks, "If I ever see a soul or spirit, how will I recognize them?" Jung says, "You have to look closely at those people. There must be something abnormal about them." 𝐻𝐤 falls asleep, and we are shown Jung's reflection in a mirror below. He looks very old. This means Jung himself is a ghost. Scene cut. We see Kim again. After returning home, Kim notices that Lee's fingernails are facing the wrong direction, which frightens him. We then see Lee attack him. What Lee did to him is not shown, but Lee is leaving Kim's house with her suitcase, blood dripping from it. 𝐻𝐸, who is heading home, sees Lee and says hi. Lee, surprised, looks back at her. Lee is perplexed as to how 𝐻𝐸 could see her, since Lee is a ghost. At this time, we see another boy named Yuji on the road. He too is feeling very scared while returning home from school. To help with his fear, he starts singing. Inside a house. A girl named Seon is annoyed by his singing. She is unable to complete her work. His singing caused the lights to go out. As the lights go out, we see someone else in the shadows behind her, a sight Seon is completely unaware of. She checks the lights and discovers that the main switch is not off, yet the lights are not coming on. This is only happening in her house. She ignores this, thinking that the house is very old and there must be a fault. Returning to her room, she opens her laptop again and continues working. Yuji's voice disturbs her again, and she asks Yuji from the window to stop singing. Yuji looks towards the window and sees someone standing behind Seon, causing him to flee in fear. We then cut to a nurse in the hospital. While the nurse is in the washroom, someone appears from the vent and begins watching her. The nurse is frightened, but doesn't scream. Instead, she closes her eyes and ears and completely ignores the entity, after which it disappears. The scene cuts to the next night, showing 𝐻𝐸, who is walking home after school when she sees Hee-won on the way. It is raining. Hee-won shares her umbrella with 𝐻𝐸. They walk while talking, when suddenly, Hee-won begins to grow taller, becoming extremely tall. 𝐻𝐸, frightened by the sight, realizes it is not human, as Jung had told her. Jung had also told her that if anyone like this comes her way, she should ignore them and walk away. At first, 𝐻𝐸 accepts this and starts walking straight ahead, but as she looks back, she realizes that Hee-won is still following her, limping. Jung also finds out about this, so he rushes out of his light shop. He tells 𝐻𝐸 to go to his house, and there, in front of Hee-won, he takes off his glasses. Hee-won is frightened by his eyes and leaves. The next day, while Yuji is returning home from school, he sees Lee. He notices Lee's suitcase, but fails to notice that blood is still oozing from it. Mistaking Lee for a living girl, he starts sharing his umbrella with her. As they pass by Seon's house, Yuji tells her that he feels scared passing this house because he once saw an entity behind, the owner. At the same time, we see Seon also see a shadow behind her inside the house, and she realizes that another entity is living in her house. Outside, we see Yuji and Lee again. While talking, Yuji looks at Lee's hands and notices that her nails are facing the wrong way. Seeing this, he realizes that Lee isn't human and he is overcome with fear. He falls down, his legs twisting. He begins to tremble violently, and Lee asks him, "Are you okay?" Yuji doesn't answer and limps away. Lee then enters the light shop. Jung asks Lee, "What do you need? How can I help you?" Lee stares intently at a bulb and tells Jung, "I know what I need." She turns to leave, and the detectives arrive. They have come looking for a man and are asking Jung about him. Outside, they notice blood spilled where Lee walked. They don't notice Lee's suitcase, but they stop and ask her, "Are you hurt?" Lee nods and starts walking away. Lee's condition is bad. It is raining, so the detective gives her his raincoat to protect her. The scene then shifts to a hospital. In the morgue, a nurse is frightened by a corpse and tells the doctor that it was talking. The doctor is not surprised. He gets up and tells the nurse to apologize to the body. They both apologize. After that, the nurse leaves, and the doctor begins to prepare the body alone. We are shown the doctor talking to the body. The body is confused about what is happening, so the doctor tells her that she is dead. In this hospital, the nurse has not yet gone home. While she is in the elevator, she sees a bus driver. Seeing her, the bus driver begins to cry. As he cries, water starts gushing from his eyes, filling the elevator. The nurse is terrified, and they are about to drown. Suddenly, the elevator door opens, and the nurse sees that neither the water nor the man is there. The scene cuts to the light shop, where the detective has arrived again, searching for a criminal. Young begins to question the detective about the man they are looking for. As the detective describes the man, we notice that the detective's eyes are constantly changing. The next morning, we see a scene at the hospital. The nurse returns to her duty, and as she is moving a patient near the elevator, the patient explains, "I see many people in the hospital who are invisible to others." The nurse doesn't speak, but then says, "I can see those people too." This happens when we come back to life after going to the brink of death. She explains, "I too had a similar accident and came back from the brink of death. Since then, I can see those people. If you see someone like that now, please ignore them." The nurse then brings him to an ICU room, where we see several patients in comas. Surprisingly, all these patients are the same, or are characters we have been seeing this season. This means that the big twist here is that the people we are seeing aren't alive. In reality, we were seeing their souls wandering the world, because they were neither dead nor alive. They were in comas. That's why their souls, 𝐋𝐢𝐠𝐿, were wandering. Now, we see 𝐉𝐻𝐻𝐻. 𝐉𝐻𝐻 used to buy a bulb for her mother from the light shop every time. But the strange thing was that whenever she returned home and tried to replace it, it would immediately break. Thus, a large number of bulbs accumulated in their dustbin. 𝐉𝐻𝐻's mother was sad, so 𝐉𝐻𝐻 embraced her. 𝐉𝐻𝐻 felt a strange feeling. Suddenly, the fragrance of flowers began to emanate from her. The scene cuts to the real world. We see a doctor telling a body that she is dead. The doctor was talking to 𝐉𝐻𝐻's mother, and he was preparing 𝐉𝐻𝐻's mother's corpse. He was placing flowers around her corpse. This is why the fragrance was emanating from 𝐉𝐻𝐻's mother. Clearly, 𝐉𝐻𝐻's mother and 𝐉𝐻𝐻 were both in the spirit world. How did they get there? The mystery unfolds and the story shifts to the past. We see all the characters introduced in this season, going about their daily routines. First, we see Kim. He was on his way to meet his fiancée, who was Lee. Afterward, we see Hyewon and Seon, and we learn that they live together. Finally, we see 𝐉𝐻𝐻 and her mother. 𝐉𝐻𝐻's mother took great care of her. 𝐉𝐻𝐻's father would always pick her up. However, since her father was away on a trip, 𝐉𝐻𝐻's mother came to pick her up herself, leaving the school. We also see Yuji. Yuji arrives and boards a bus, driven by the same bus driver we saw earlier. While he was in the elevator, the water was filling up. The driver notices that the bus's brakes are not working properly. However, he doesn't repair them because it is time to leave and all the main characters are on board. The bus starts moving. It is raining. Suddenly, the bus loses balance. A tire blows. The brakes fail, and the bus crashes over a bridge into the water. Lee, who was waiting for the bus at the next terminal to help Kim get on, is devastated by the accident. Everyone's lives are at stake. Everyone is rushed to the hospital, and their condition is dire. We learn that by the time they arrive, both 𝐉𝐻𝐻's mother and Hyewon have died, and everyone else is in critical condition. They are in a coma. Kim's parents are extremely worried about Kim. Lee messages his mother to ask about his condition. An angry mother tells her that Kim is dead. She didn't want Lee to be with him because she couldn't hear or speak. Lee had no one else in this world except Kim. Hearing the news, she breaks down and takes her own life. We learn that in the soul world, 3 people had died, and the rest were in limbo. Lee committed suicide, and in such a painful way that even her fingernails were broken. This is why her nails were inverted in the soul world. The time shifts back to the present, and we see the same soul world. We see Lee waiting at the same bus stop, just as she was before her death. Kim emerges from the bus. It is Kim's soul. He has forgotten that Lee was his fiancée. As usual, he looks at Lee, wondering why she is staring at him, and leaves. Kim would always fall after a short distance because both his legs were broken in the real world. He couldn't walk properly. In this soul world, Kim would repeatedly get off the bus, fall, and Lee would catch him. This played out in a loop. Lee would carry him home and stitch his legs back up every day so that he could walk in this world and recover quickly in the real world. While we considered Lee a killer throughout the show, she was actually Kim's guardian. The scene cuts to Se-yeon, now in her dark house. The lights haven't come on. She begins to go crazy, and as she falls, she remembers everything about her accident. She remembers that her friend, Hye-won, grabbed her from behind to save her. She breaks down in tears, and Hye-won comforts her. The detective turns on his lighter to check his identity, and as the light catches his reflection, he realizes that half his head is missing. Terrified, he runs into the light shop and asks Young why such strange things are happening to him. He also asks, why is there never a morning in this world? Why is it always night? Young doesn't respond, but instead removes his glasses, and we see his dark eyes. Seeing these eyes, the detective realizes that Young is not human, and he also realizes that he too is no longer human. The detective remembers his accident, but now he asks Young about his story, asking how he came to be here. Young explains that years ago, during an earthquake, our building collapsed. My daughter and I were trapped. I tried desperately to rescue my daughter. But when I couldn't, I came to this shop for help. At that time, the owner was a girl who told me that I had died and become a spirit. She also told me that my daughter had been rescued and was alive. That's why I couldn't find her. Young explains that, from that day on, I managed this light shop because I learned that after death, or in difficult situations, souls visit this shop. I have been working here all this time in the hope that I might meet my daughter one last time. The detective asks Young, "Am I dead?" Young says, "No, you're in a coma. Right now, your soul is here. You can go back to the world. And this place is like a portal for you, connecting this world and the human world. You have to find your light here. If you find your light, you will go back to your world." The detective starts looking around. There are many lights here. He asks Young, "Which is my light?" Young tells him, "You've found your light." He looks at his lighter in surprise, which is burning without him trying to light it. That is his light. Here, in this soul world, we see the bus driver. The bus driver wants to take all his passengers to the light shop so that those in coma can return to life and he can rectify his mistake. He approaches Yuji, still wet, to take him to the light shop so that Yuji can find his light and return to his world. He explains everything to Yuji, saying, "Right now, in this world, you are not real. Your soul is here." He apologizes for his actions, and then the driver takes him inside the light shop. Upon entering, Yuji finds his light immediately. He discovers his light because all other lights appear dim to him, while his own light appears bright. As soon as Yuji touches the light, it brightens even more, and Young comes to him and says, "I hope we don't meet here again." He sends Yuji back to his world, saying goodbye. The scene cuts to Kim and Lee again, before the loop starts again. This time, Lee quickly gets on the bus and explains everything to Kim, saying, "You are in a soul world. I am dead, but you are still alive in your world. And because you are in a coma, your soul is here. You have to go back." Kim understands, but he doesn't know who Lee is or why she is telling him this. Due to the accident, he has forgotten Lee. Then we see the bus driver pick up Se-yeon. He meets Se-yeon's friend there, to whom he apologizes for her death. Se-yeon's friend forgives him. He requests Se-yeon's friend to please send her to the light shop. There is still hope for her survival. She is not dead yet. If she goes to the light shop, she will be alive in the real world. Hearing this, Se-yeon's friend promises that she will send her to the light shop. We are shown a scene from the light shop. At this point, Hyeju's mother, who had died, enters the shop. She has come to get a light for her daughter, Hyeju, to wake her from the coma. But Young tells her that her daughter must come herself to get the light. Seeing Young, Hyeju's mother breaks down in tears as a major twist is revealed. Hyeju's mother is Young's daughter, who was separated from Young in the accident. She makes this clear through gestures, and Young is overjoyed to meet his daughter. Finally, his years of hard work had paid off. His long wait is over. He embraces his daughter. The scene cuts to the bus driver, who had come to meet Hyeju. He explains the details of their accident. She is in a coma and needs to go to the light shop to return to her world. Learning this shocks Hyeju. All the strange things that were happening were disturbing her. The reason was that no one could see her soul. Today, she understands why all her friends ignored her and why only one girl at school could see her. She becomes distraught and goes home, where she finds her mother holding her light. Hyeju realizes that her mother is dead in the real world. This devastates her. She refuses to return to her world with the light. Hyeju clenches her hands. She refuses to take the light, but her mother embraces her, explains everything, and puts the light in her hand. Meanwhile, Se-yeon's friend sent Se-yeon to the light shop after making a promise. Upon reaching the shop, Se-yeon discovers her light is weak, meaning her chances are slim. Even if she survives, she will be very sick and unhappy because her friend is here in this world. Therefore, she refuses to return to her world and returns home, telling her friend that she will never leave. We are then shown that Lee also dragged Kim to the light shop. Kim still doesn't recognize Lee, but he listens to her and goes inside, where he finds his light. As soon as he touches it, a bright light flashes, and Kim finally goes back to his world, leaving Lee in tears, knowing she'd never see him again. The scene cuts to the real world, where Yuji has finally regained consciousness and returned to normal. The same nurse we saw at the beginning comes to meet him. Hyeju has also emerged from her coma, but Hyeju still remembers everything that happened. This is why she is deeply saddened, as she had met her mother for the last time. She misses her mother. In the world of souls, we see that the bus driver, after apologizing to everyone, has begun doing good deeds. He has taken the responsibility of taking the souls of those in a coma to the light shop so that they could return to their world. In this same world, Young and Hyeju's mother now live in the light shop, and the father and daughter are overjoyed to be reunited. Finally, in the real world. We see Kim, who has returned from a coma but doesn't remember Lee. He hears from his mother that Lee was his friend, but he has no recollection of her. He does remember that. Lee helped him return from the soul world. Detective Song has also returned to the real world, but with his rebirth, he can see all the souls, and this causes him considerable disturbance. Here, the detective encounters a strange man who warns him not to worry, saying, "I understand you are disturbed by seeing spirits. I used to be similarly disturbed because I can see them too. But gradually everything will return to normal." And so, the season ends, showing just these two.